Cotton candy, salted caramel, and birthday cake are just a few of the new Canadian exclusive Hershey bars that I'm going to be trying today on the show. Are these candies worth your time, or is Milton Hershey spinning in his grave? Hello, candy freaks, and welcome to That's Rank. It's been 122 years since the first Hershey bars were sold. Now, of course, innovation's the key, so by 1908, old Milton was slinging Hershey bars with almonds in them. And things just spiraled from there, bringing us all the way to today, where cotton candy flavored chocolate bars were frankly the only logical destination for us to wind up. So today, you and I, we're gonna be ripping through these 5 candy bars like we're looking for a golden ticket, and together we're gonna answer the question, has Hershey gone too far? Actually, forget that. They can't go far enough. Let's just see if these bars are any good. Now, for today's exercise, I'm going to be rating these using the officially licensed internet tier rating system. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's your standard school grades ranging from F all the way up to A+, but there's also an S tier, which is the super tier, and then there's an S+ tier, which I don't actually know what that stands for, but it's really good. This bar feels like a reasonable place to start. Now, of course, cookies and cream Hershey bars first hit shelves all the way back in 1994 and were an instant hit with the often overlooked white chocolate lovers. What makes the original cookies and cream so good is just how unassuming it is. It's white chocolate with knockoff Oreo crumbs in it. It's such an incredibly stupid design, it's amazing that Oreo themselves didn't come up with it first. But they didn't, so they lose. And let's face it, in the chocolate world, Hershey always wins. Anyway, here we are some 28 years later, and damn if innovation isn't once again knocking on our doors, because they've taken the original, but they have added graham clusters. Now, you might be wondering what the difference between a graham cracker and a graham cluster is. Yeah, I have no idea. All right, this is basically as advertised. It's your standard cookies and cream bar. You can see all the makings that made it famous. However, take a look at the back here. What are these things here? This thing has more humps than the Black Eyed Peas. So up front, I'm not a big fan of the cookies and cream bar. I've had it a few times. It's perfectly acceptable eating, but it doesn't wow me. This doesn't really wow me either, but it is an improvement. I like the texture of the graham clusters in this one. It adds a much needed crunch to the bar that was really needed with the original cookies and cream. I think that's my biggest misgiving about the bars, that the cookie pieces aren't big enough to give you a nice satisfying cookie crunch. The graham clusters here are doing what the cookie doesn't do. I think I'll go ahead and give this a B-. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't buy it again, but I wouldn't give it away if it wound up in my Halloween goodie bag. And yes, I have a Halloween goodie bag. I'm 40, I'm not dead. Up second, we have birthday cake. And I don't know, I'm not real crazy about birthday cake flavored products, and I don't really know how this became a thing, or more importantly, why it's still a thing. To drop a truth bomb on y'all, birthday cake isn't actually all that good. Now, don't react in horror, listen for a second. Birthday cakes are great in the sense that somebody thought about you enough to decorate it with something that's meaningful and then write your name on it and put the requisite number of candles atop the cake. But the cake itself, it's not so good. I figured this out years ago, and I've gone ahead and banned birthday cake on all of my birthdays. Now, let's be clear, I'm not a total Scrooge. I still buy cakes for other people, and I still allow my loved ones to put candles on things, but I've asked for pie instead. Look, y'all can have your cakes, and if they make you happy, then by all means, but you're not trumping the apple pie cheesecake that I got for my 38th birthday. And yes, I recognize a cheesecake is still a cake, but I feel like I won. Now, what I'm hoping is that the wheels are spinning in some of your hamster cages, because it's high time that we demanded better. You know, it's our birthdays. Unless, of course, you like birthday cake, then by all means, do your thing. You're wrong, but it's your day, and you're allowed to be wrong. It's giving off that artificial birthday cake smell, and I really hate that in candy form. And of course, it's filled with the usual sprinkles that's mandatory in all things birthday cakes. Oh my God, that has to be the worst birthday cake flavored anything that I've ever had. That is terrible. What the Hershey? Who hurt you? There's no way that Milton would have okayed this. One bite, and then to banish the entire factory to a week for praying for forgiveness in the Hershey Chapel. Not making the chapel up. It's part of the tour if you ever head to the main factory. I've been there at least a half dozen times, both the factory and the chapel, but I try to skip past it quickly lest I burst into flames. This is an F. This is one of the worst candy bars of all time. Okay, I paused for a sec to Google some reviews. I wasn't gonna use reviews in this video, but I needed to see if I was nuts, and it turns out that I'm not. This has all of 2 stars on Walmart.ca, which might be about the lowest product rating I've ever seen. And here's a few of the reviews. This is, no contest, the worst candy bar I've ever tasted. After one bite, it went directly into the garbage, then I had to rinse out the horrible aftertaste. Seriously, Hershey? I usually love anything that's birthday cake flavored, so I was excited to try this, but it tastes so medicinal, I couldn't eat more than one piece. I was so excited to try this because I love birthday cake. It was gross. Horrible aftertaste and just bad in general. Stick to cookies and cream. So guys, if you can't take my word for it, take theirs. Don't buy this. All right, let's mix things up after the last disaster. This is the only milk chocolate bar on today's roster, and it's flavored with hazelnut, which makes sense given the Nutella craze. Now, of course, if you've been with me for a while, you know I'm not really a Nutella guy. I don't mind it, I just don't think that hazelnuts were ever meant to compete with peanut butter. Peanut butter is basically the Mike Tyson of the breakfast spread world, while Nutella is Buster Douglas. It's got no chance, don't bet on it. Also, I love the size of these thin little 39-gram bars. They're about perfect for me. If I ate one of the bigger ones in a single sitting, I'd be spending the rest of the decade under nursing care. Yeah, it's got the whole Nutella thing going on here. You know, I don't mean to spoil things, but this is gonna taste like Nutella. Now, one of the cool things that you're gonna see here is that these last 3 bars are all part of their lineup of ice cream-inspired candy. So all the pieces break off into these little ice cream cones. It might not be the most effective engineering, but it's a fun gimmick. Okay, I prejudged. It's actually closer to Ferrero Rocher, and I'll explain the difference. Nutella is very chocolate forward, and I find that Rocher focuses more on the actual hazelnuts, and that's what this bar is doing. You're getting a lot less of the chocolate, it's ultra hazelnut forward. Rochers are all right. They're not my favorite Christmas candy, but they're fine. I'm gonna give this a neutral C rating. If you love Ferrero Rocher, then this bar is definitely gonna jingle your car keys. It'll be Christmas in July. Salted caramel toffee. The name alone is just speaking my love language. Caramel and toffee are my weak spots in the candy world. You know, if you hit those ingredients just right, I'll do just about anything to get my hands on some, but if you get it wrong, you'll have made yourself a very powerful enemy. Well, not that powerful. I'll mostly run my mouth when you're not around about your poor candy making skills. Now, this one broke. It's got a very rich caramel smell coming off this. I wasn't sure if this was gonna be a white chocolate with toffee bits on the inside, but I suspect at a glance, it's actually gonna be a caramel flavored candy with toffee bits instead. Oh baby, there is something really special happening right now. This is awesome. It's exactly as advertised. It's got a little bit of the salt in the caramel to help it pop. That's all the salt really does. It helps bring the flavor even stronger to the surface. And all those crunchy little candy bits bring you a nice texture balance. It completely complements the creamy caramel. I'm gonna rate this one as an A. It's an upper tier candy. I really, really dig this. And while it's not enough to go into the S tier, it's still super solid, and I would get this again if I had a hankering for some salted caramel. Our final entry today is cotton candy, and I really don't know what on earth we're gonna be expecting here. Now, one thing I wanna point out is the French name, which is baube à papa. Literally translated, it means daddy's beard. Is your mouth watering yet? Seriously, the French language when it comes to food is a bit of a mystery. You've got eggnog, which is lait de poule, which stands for chicken milk. Shepherd's pie is pâté chinois or Chinese pâté. A grilled cheese sandwich is a croque monsieur, or bite man. Fun fact, croque monsieur used to be my online dating name. Oh yeah, now there's a natural color that you can hang your hat on. Giving off a very phony blue raspberry smell, like a slush puppy. Let's see how this tastes. I actually don't mind that. I'm kind of picking up the vibes of the blue cotton candy here. It's a little bit berry, it's got a little bit of caramel notes in it, but it's very, very sweet. I will say the predominant flavor is actually the white chocolate though. It's overpowering the cotton candy, which feels like it's a little bit difficult to do, but it's a fun novelty, and I can tell you now that my 5-year-old would be all over this. And he probably will be when I bring the rest of this back into the house. I wouldn't buy this again, but it's fun, so I'll give it a C+ rating. You know, fun offering, just not very memorable. You know, even though most of these bars today weren't fantastic, I'll always appreciate the attempts to branch out and do a little bit different. You never know what's gonna be the next big trend, and speaking of, word of advice to Hershey, sell a flaming hot chocolate bar. It'll be absolutely awful, but y'all print so much cash, you'll be able to afford second chapel. So, did any of these candy bars appeal to you at all today? Comment below with the one that you'd want to try, and then hit the subscribe button because being subscribed to this channel is part of a complete breakfast. It's true, just do it.